Hello everyone, my name is Mirhat Sharifjan and welcome to Eurasian-Express, a YouTube channel dedicated to geopolitics, security, history, cultures and languages, as well as ongoing events and developments that shape today's Eurasia. On July 6, Ukrainian drones attacked the Omsk Oil Refinery in Siberia, the largest refinery in Russia by processing capacity. Located almost 3,000 kilometers from Ukraine, from central Ukraine, the attack represents one of the deepest known strikes inside Russian territory since the beginning of Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine more than 4 years ago. While the Ukrainian General Staff had not officially confirmed the attack at the time this presentation was prepared, Ukrainian monitoring channels published several videos showing explosions and what appeared to be a fire at the refinery in Omsk. Omsk is not an alien city for me personally. I served in the Soviet Army in 1981, 1982, 1983 for 2 years in that very city in Siberia. Initially, Omsk regional governor Vitaly Hotsenko, a person with a Ukrainian surname by the way, stated that Russian air defenses had intercepted Ukrainian drones. Later, however, he acknowledged that several drones had managed to reach the so-called Northern Industrial Zone of Omsk. He did not explicitly mention the refinery itself, which immediately attracted attention. The Omsk refinery is not just another industrial enterprise. Owned by Gazprom Neft giant, it processes roughly 1/5 of Russia's refining capacity and supplies gasoline, diesel fuel, and aviation fuel to large areas of Siberia and beyond. The company itself describes itself as one of Russia's most technologically advanced refineries. Even temporary disruptions of such a facility can have nationwide consequences. The strike comes at a particularly difficult moment for Russia's domestic fuel market. Throughout the spring and especially early summer of 2026, reports of gasoline shortages and deficiency have emerged from multiple Russian regions. Drivers have experienced long queues at filling stations. Some independent stations have introduced purchase limits. Regional authorities have acknowledged the problem and called it temporary supply disruptions. Russian officials insist these problems are local and temporary, but the pattern has become increasingly difficult to ignore or to dismiss. Several factors are driving the shortages. Large volumes of refined fuel continue to be directed toward military needs in Ukraine. Repair works at refineries damaged by previous Ukrainian drone strikes has reduced overall refining capacity. Sanctions, Western sanctions, continue to complicate access to imported equipment and spare parts. And now comes the possibility of disruptions of Russia's largest refinery. Even if physical damage proves limited, repeated attacks force temporary shutdowns, extensive checkups or inspections, stricter security procedures, all of which reduce output. For an energy system already operating under pressure, every interruption matters. The Omsk strike also demonstrates Ukraine's growing ability to reach targets that many Russians previously believed were completely safe. For much of the war, Siberia remained psychologically distant from the conflict. Now even facilities located thousands of kilometers from Ukraine appear vulnerable. This forces Russia to disperse air defense systems over an even larger territory, while simultaneously trying to protect Moscow, first of all, or military airfields, oil depots, ammunition warehouses, and strategic industrial facilities. Every additional target stretches those resources further. The refinery strike came as Russia continued its own large-scale aerial campaign against Ukraine. During the night between July 5 and July 6, Russian forces launched another massive attack on Kiev using drones and missiles. Air defense systems intercepted many incoming weapons, but not all. Explosions were reported across several districts of the Ukrainian capital. Residential buildings, civilian infrastructure, and commercial facilities sustained huge damages. Emergency services battled fires throughout the night, while falling debris injured civilians and forced residents to shelter once again. The largest assault continued Russia's strategy of applying constant pressure on Ukrainian cities, towns, electricity networks, and civilian infrastructure through repeated overnight attacks. For millions of Ukrainians, another sleepless night has become part of daily life. Russia attempts to weaken Ukraine and its morale by targeting cities, power systems, and civilian infrastructure. Ukraine seeks to reduce Russia's ability to finance and sustain the war by attacking refineries, fuel depots, military logistics, and industrial facilities. Energy has become one of the central battlefields of this conflict. Unlike tanks or aircraft, refineries cannot be quickly replaced. They require years of built, highly specialized equipment and constant maintenance. Repeated strikes can gradually reduce refining capacity even without completely destroying the facilities. If Ukrainian long-range drones continue reaching targets as distant as Omsk, Russia may be forced to devote even greater resources to protecting energy infrastructure instead of the battlefield. At the same time, continued refinery disruptions could worsen domestic gasoline shortages that have already begun appearing across various regions of Russia. Whether the Omsk refinery suffered major damage or only temporary disruption, the psychological impact is already significant. A facility once considered as safe beyond the reach of Ukrainian forces has now entered the battlefield, we can say. The war is no longer defined simply by front lines. It is increasingly becoming a contest of logistics, industrial capacity, energy production, and economic endurance. Thank you very much for watching. If you like this report and analysis, please like it and subscribe to Eurasian-Express. Thank you again. See you next time. До скорых встреч в эфире.